speaker is going to be Carlos C. Mims Sr. Carlos is a partner at Trapp Insurance Group, Incorporated, where he specializes in offering lifestyle protection plans to individuals and families. With 18 years of experience in the financial services industry, Carlos is committed to empowering clients with the knowledge they need to take control of their financial futures, helping them move from financing their lifestyle to owning it. Carlos is a best-selling author, sharing his expertise and insights on wealth building and financial literacy. He holds a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science from Fayetteville State University in his home. Okay, the Broncos are in the building. In his hometown of Fayetteville, North Carolina, ladies and gentlemen, Carlos C. Mims Sr.
My name is Carlos Mims. I'm originally from Fayetteville. For those of us that's been around, it's also known as Vietnam. So it's a wonderful place to be. That's where I've got all my education. Fayetteville State graduate. I'm a Bronco. And told my parents once I graduated I was moving up here. I said, I'm moving away. I went 60 miles north. Came to Raleigh. You know, so I was far enough from my parents where I can have my own life. And close enough to the things that I enjoy, because I really got tired of a military town. Graduated from Fayetteville State with a comp sci. Loved computers, was in the industry for about 23 years, and then kind of got tired of it. Kept running into glass ceilings, and one of the reasons I went to Fayetteville State was I wanted a degree that I didn't have to go back to school for. And then when I got into computer, I was always going back for another certification and another certification, and I love learning, just not that way. So I got talked into the insurance business. Didn't really realize what it was, but then I fell in love with it, started understanding about helping people with their lives. And then for myself, you know, we grew up about going to school, get that education, and you have that pursuit of money. I need that money. I need that money. And then that becomes your whole thing. I need that money. And I need more of that money. Then you start doing more stuff for that money. And then that money brought stuff. It brought, you know, cars and clothes. And next thing you know, we're sitting around and we go, man, I kind of like this lifestyle. But the thing that I found out, that I had the money, I looked successful, I had the house, but I was broke. I couldn't afford not to work. So waking up one morning, you just get tired of being on that treadmill. And I was like, it's got to be something better than this. And then I had a paradigm shift. And this was my paradigm shift. For those of us that went to college, there was 4 things that we did before we even stepped foot on a college. The first thing we did was we decided what college we were going to. The second thing we did was figure out how much it was going to cost us to attend this college. The third thing was whatever discipline you was going to graduate in, we figured out how many credit hours that we needed to graduate. And then the fourth thing was you got the curriculum that told you what class you needed to take in what semester, what year, in order to make it. And for those, you know, if you did that and you passed the class, you got out in 4 years. I was on a little longer plan than that. But I got out and I walked across the stage. And the minute that we got on campus, every decision we made was based upon that curriculum. Regardless if there was another class that we enjoyed and thought would be fun, we didn't take it because, one, it cost us more money, and it also prolonged us from walking across the stage. The amazing thing is when we get out of college, nobody sits down and try to figure out what's the life that I want to live. How much is it going to cost me? What do I got to do to maintain it? And all we want to think about is I got to go make some money. So what we end up doing is allowing the money to determine what kind of lifestyle that we live, instead of allowing the money to pay for the lifestyle that I've already determined. So if we would have been able to do that, then our decisions would have been a little different as we was growing up. Even to the point we might have made a little decision about who we would have married. Because sometimes you're married for one reason and you stay in it and it just goes somewhere else. And then you end up with other problems. So what I ended up, me and my wife sat down and we kind of figured it out, because it's one thing to look like you're successful, and it's another thing to be successful. And when I was looking like I was successful, I was robbing Paul to pay Peter. But what I forgot, that Paul started asking for his money. And that's a hard feeling when now I got to go rob Simon to pay Peter. But I'm still in a hole. But then when we sat down and tried to figure out, what is the life that I want to live? What are the things that are really important to me? And then when you get that number, and on my chart I created an equation that allows you to know what the number that you need to be working towards. When you obtain that number, you own your lifestyle. And you can do the things you want to do. See, what we got to understand, when we have loans and we owe, those loans gives us the right to pretend that we're the owner. Because you don't make the payment, the real owner going to come and get their stuff. But it makes us feel good. But the whole thing is, you got to get to the point where you own your lifestyle. We're at a point now where I'm teaching my kids this strategy. You know, people laughing at me and when I say, yeah, I'm teaching them how to own their lifestyle. I'm teaching them how to own their lifestyle so they don't come and take from mine. That when they leave the house, they understand how daddy got his, so you can get yours. And that's crucial for us, especially, you know, for young black men. We get caught up in things. Things never really bring you joy before a moment. And if you don't believe me, buy your child a toy and see how long they play with the toy. You know, we gave my grandson a toy. He played with the box more than he played with the toy. You know, it's about the mentality of what you want and how you want to have it. And for me and my wife, it was a paradigm shift. And I'll be the first to tell you, I hate budgets. Budgets to me meant that I couldn't spend money. And if you tell me I can't spend money, I'm going to do just the opposite. Not going to spend money. And my wife used to get mad. But when we decided that we wanted to own the life that we wanted, I quit spending. Because now all of a sudden it's more important for me to own my lifestyle than it is for me to have things. And then you got to realize that some of the things you can't really afford. Let me share this. I bought my dream car, which was a BMW 740 IL. Man, that bad boy is the ultimate driving machine. I loved it. On the highway, I felt like I was floating. Man, you couldn't tell me nothing. But when that baby broke, that's when I realized I could not afford this car. And that's how we are with our life sometimes, is we get it out there and we enjoy it so much, not realizing what is the real cost of the life that I said I want to have. So I enjoyed this thing, and I started doing it, and I got it to the point where I ended up writing a book about it. Because, you know, books last longer than I do. And it'll be here when I'm gone. And I didn't write the book to put it out there to make a ton of money, but I really wrote it so when I sit down with my clients, I can give it to them. And say, whether you do business with me, I want you to understand you can own your lifestyle instead of financing it. Because most of us are still financing our lifestyle. You cannot convince me that when somebody gets around to retirement age, whatever that age is, and they sit there and look at their money and go like, I can't afford to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm going to downsize. And then we get the excuse of, well, I'm going to downsize. I don't need all this space. But you just got your house like you want it. I don't know anybody that want to spend all that money to get their house like they want it and then sell it. That's crazy. But if you start off with the end in mind like we did in college, your decisions are different. Your money is spent different. And your kids get to see how it's done. And that's the most important thing to me. I remember my kids would always bring that scripture about a good man leaves an inheritance to your children. Man, they love that scripture. And I had to remind them. I said, let me tell you something. Let me give you daddy's revelation of that scripture. I said, yes. The inheritance is not me and mom's money. We're going to spend that. And if we have anything left over, then God bless you. But the inheritance is how I got this money. That's what I need to teach you. Because if you learn that, my expectation is that you're going to do better than I did. Because you have more opportunity. And I get to telling them about, internet, and we had dial-up, and they look at me. I tell them about the phone that used to hang on the wall. They look at me. I talk about the TV going off at 12 o'clock. They look at me. It's a different world, and they have more opportunity. But if we don't put the knowledge into them, then they'll repeat the same mess that we repeated over and over and over again. I love my dad. But my dad's strategy was education and a job. Education and a job. I have nothing against education, but education doesn't guarantee you anything. There are more unemployed, well-educated people today than there ever has been. I think education is great when you're using it to enhance the passion that you have. We should be looking for a career, not a job. And we should be designing the life that we want within that job, within that career. I've been through living a life that I could not afford. And I stand before you living a life I can't afford. I'm going to say this quick. There was a time, my son up in Maryland just bought a house. And this was one of my victorious moments. Me and my wife went up to Maryland, filled up their cabinets, bought them a grill with a full gas tank so it wasn't charcoal. And I did not have to worry about how I was going to cover the cost of the food when I got back home. That's what parenting is about. That's the joy of when you're starting to own your lifestyle. So what I want to do is I want to leave this thought. Most of us spend the majority of our life and our time managing a resource that if we lose it, we can replace it. And that's money. And we spend very little to no time managing a resource that if we lose it, we can never get it back, no matter what you do. That's your time and your life. If we reverse that, it changes everything. So my call to action is that if anybody's in here and ready to take that journey, I'm ready to take it with you. At my table, I got appointments set. You just sit where you want, and we'll have that conversation. Because it's more important for you to own your lifestyle than impress somebody who really doesn't care about you. So with that being said, I thank you for this opportunity, and I hope I triggered something. Thank you.